There she is, Hillary Clinton out to cause more trouble in America. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You know, Hillary Clinton is one of the nastiest people ever to occupy the White House. And I know a lot of people think that's crazy when you think about all these evildoers we've had, like Obama, the war criminal George Bush that lied about WMDs, or the Biden third Obama term there. It is saying a lot, but it's true. She is a sick, twisted person. And, I remember when the Clintons were in the White House, when they were first elected. It was such a bizarre thing that went on. And they used to call it, in the media, they called it a co-presidency. And the media, the fake news media, we didn't have fake news yet, right? We didn't call it that yet because President Trump coined that phrase. But we had the mainstream media, we called it the liberal media then, the left-wing liberal media. We didn't even call it mainstream media because there wasn't any alt media like we have now, people like me. But the liberal media, as we called it then, said, oh, this is great. You're getting two presidents, two Clintons for the price of one, and this co-presidency. And there was this whole thing that was promoted back then that Hillary Clinton was the brains behind the Clinton family. She was the smart one, and Bill was just some hick from Arkansas. And we found out the opposite was true. He was the smart one, and she's the complete idiot. They used to tell a joke. I remember this joke. Some of you may remember this, or maybe even told it back in the Clinton years. But there was this joke that people used to tell. It probably won't be funny now, but just to put some perspective on what an idiot Hillary Clinton is. There was this joke that the presidential limousine, we didn't call it the Beast then either. We called it the presidential limousine. Some people called it Limo One. I used to hear that a lot. Maybe it did have the designation the Beast back then. I don't know. I think that was with this new car with the big tires. But anyway, the way the joke went is that the presidential limousine pulls into a gas station in Arkansas. Bill and Hillary are inside. Guys pumping gas into the president's limo. And Hillary sees the guy pumping gas and says, oh, I used to date him. Which really didn't make a lot of sense because she wasn't from Arkansas. She's from Chicago. But anyway, that it was a joke. I used to date him. And Bill Clinton said, yeah. And Hillary said, yeah, just think, if I would have married him, he could have been president, right? And you'd be pumping gas. And, the way the joke went was this. Bill said to Hillary, if you'd have married him, you would have been married to a gas station attendant. And then Hillary would say to Bill, no, you'd be pumping gas, and he'd be the president if I married him. That was the joke. I messed it up the first time. Well, hey, anyway, 35, 40-year-old joke. That's not bad memory for all that time. But anyway, we had this whole image all that time that she was the brains, and she's a complete idiot. Now, President Clinton is a degenerate and everything, but he's a smart guy. He's just a degenerate person that's got all kinds of personal issues. Well, anyway, Hillary Clinton, she has not gotten over losing the presidency, and she lost it twice, not just to Trump. Before that, 8 years before, she lost the nomination to Barack Obama. And, Hillary Clinton was completely betrayed by everyone that she thought was her friend and gave that nomination to Obama. She was set up. He was a nobody. We didn't even hear of this guy when he first started running. Half the people, including Democrats like Joy Behar and Ted Kennedy and others, kept calling him Osama all the time. I'm telling you, the people would say Barack Osama. I'm sure you can find this on YouTube of Joy Behar calling him Barack Osama. There was a whole montage that used to go around of that, of Democrats calling him Osama. And what had happened is Harry Reid and the Kennedys got behind Barack Obama and shut her out. So she lost twice, and all this garbage that she put up and conspired with her husband, because she did conspire with her husband to destroy the lives of women who were sexually abused or assaulted by him. She put up with all of that, did all these things that she did because she was going to be the first lady president. Well, it hasn't happened for her. It's never going to happen. And she lost her mind when she lost to President Trump the first time that in the first election. So now it's Memorial Day weekend, and Mrs. Clinton has these glasses I wear. People ask me about these cheap glasses I wear. These are just readers. I have 20/15 vision far away, but need readers to read websites. So Hillary Clinton's injecting herself into things for Memorial Day. Listen to this. Hillary Clinton calls on liberals to go after family members at Memorial Day gatherings, and she posted on X. I don't know who reads her post on X, but enough people read it that it made the news, and I'm talking about it, I guess. This is what Hillary Clinton wrote. I'm giving you a mission for this Memorial Day holiday weekend. I want you to talk to two people, friends, neighbors, cookout attendees, about why Trump's proposed budget would be a disaster for American kids. We owe the next generation every chance. And this isn't it, says Mrs. Clinton. Now, of course, Mrs. Clinton has a much deeper voice than I have. It's very raspy, all the years of smoking and alcohol. And then she posted a little flyer that tells you what to bring up to destroy your relationships with your family, friends, and neighbors. And the flyer says this: how the Trump budget bill would impact kids. One, and she put in parentheses, it would be a disaster. One, drastically cut health care. 15 million Americans, including millions of children, could lose access through Medicaid cuts and ACA marketplace changes. Well, the kids that are going to lose their insurance, if any kids are going to lose it on these programs, are illegals, people that are in this country illegally and shouldn't have it. Okay, they shouldn't. I don't have Medicaid. I don't have health insurance at all. So why should illegals have it? That's the first. Second one, increased food insecurity. Well, if you've seen Mrs. Clinton lately, she's the opposite of that, right? Nearly 11 million people, including 4 million kids, could lose SNAP food assistance. Again, if they're cutting anything involving SNAP, it has to do with illegals that shouldn't be getting it. Next, make families poorer. The bill would kick 4.5 million American kids off of the child tax credit. And finally, leave AI dangers unchecked. What does she know about AI? This bill would freeze state-level AI regulation for 10 years, stripping states of the ability to protect kids from deep fakes, exploitation, and more. Meanwhile, the Democrats have been running this child sex trafficking ring through the southern border by the millions for years and years and decades. But now all of a sudden she's concerned about the children. This is so typical with the Democrats. They've done this before when Obama was president and Obamacare wasn't all that popular. They were trying to get people to do this self-destructive nonsense over, I think it was Thanksgiving dinner. Wasn't it Thanksgiving dinner during Obama's reign they were doing this? They wanted you, when you went to Thanksgiving dinner, which, Thanksgiving, out of all the American holidays, is the one where the most family gets together. Christmas is the immediate family with the grandparents as part of that. When you go to a Thanksgiving dinner, and I know this happens with my family, I see cousins and aunts and uncles sometimes I haven't seen in 20 years. They'll make it to Thanksgiving, right? It's a big thing. And what the Democrats wanted you to do then, if you were a Democrat, is go to Thanksgiving dinner and start a fight about politics and try to convince everybody else that the Democrat way is the way. Listen, she's an old hag, Hillary Clinton. The Democrats are done. They're not in the current form that they're in. They're not going anywhere. Here's the deal. I've been talking about this a lot lately, and I'm glad others are starting to pick up on this. This monster that is American monster, American terrorist, murdered these Israelis in Washington, D.C. this week. He is an American, and you notice that story is they're already trying to disappear it from the news, and the reason they're trying to disappear it from the news is because he's a Democrat, and he has been incredibly radicalized by all the liberal organizations, the Democrat Party, as well as the fake news liberal media. And this is the deal. The Democrat Party, the liberal movement of today, they're not a political organization anymore. They really are not. They've been totally destroyed. This is a MAGA nation, very conservative. You even have Fetterman talking like a Republican because Pennsylvania is a strong red state now, and he's panicked about his re-election. If you're just a one-termer, they don't open the books to you. You got to be up there for more than one term for them to open the books and set you up for life. And Fetterman knows that. So he's trying to get reelected. But here's the thing. The Democrat Party is no longer a legitimate political organization. They're a radical, anti-American, racist, very violent grooming organization for young people. I mean, we had this terrorist attack where they radicalized this American Democrat, and he committed an act of terrorism and brutally murdered at point-blank range 2 young Israelis simply because they were Jews. And you've seen the updates on it. The girl survived the initial shooting, was crawling away, and he went up and shot her in the back. I mean, what a monster. And even after he didn't even run or try to hide. He was proud of what he did, and he was shouting out Free Palestine, which you hear from liberal Democrats all the time. Some of them have seats in the United States House of Representatives that say what he said, Free Palestine, which, So the Democrats are groomers of radicals, and they're grooming radicals to commit violence. Not only do we have this guy, but we have Luigi, the pharmaceutical killer, also radicalized by the Democrat Party. Some of these mass shootings in the last couple of years, like the one in Nashville with those little children in that Christian school, we have an epidemic of left-wing, radical, lunatic, transgender killers that are out there. And it goes on. And that's what the Democrats are doing. They're going out there and they are radicalizing young people to go out and commit all kinds of violent acts. It's a revolutionary party. It's a criminal party. Even there are people in Congress like Ilhan Omar who would not, when she was asked to condemn the murder of the Israelis during that terrorist attack in D.C., she wouldn't do it. Now, later she posted something on social media, but that was like long after she refused to do it on television because she didn't want to condemn someone that had killed 2 Jews. Yeah, isn't that something? And just to give you an example, this story just dropped right here in my state, the Sunshine State of Florida, where the president lives. That's right, Mar-a-Lago. Listen to this. This is literally a blue-haired liberal woman. She's got the blue hair. This is in the Gateway Pundit. A deranged Florida woman viciously attacked an elderly person because he supported President Trump and then assaulted a man in the latest act of disturbing violence by the radical left. She's already out of jail despite facing multiple charges. Listen to this. Fox 13 out of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is on the west coast of Florida and is along the coast of the Gulf of America. Fox 13 Tampa Bay obtained an arrest affidavit on Thursday, which revealed that 33-year-old Laura Elizabeth Garrett was at Northeast Park and Paul Place in Largo on Tuesday when she decided to harass a 72-year-old man for wearing a MAGA hat. And you know me, I've always got a Trump hat on. Right now, I'm wearing my Trump 2028 hat, which I've been wearing most of the time lately. I like this one. But I've always got my MAGA hat on or this or another Trump hat. The document shows that the Democrat demanded to know why the man, I lost my place in the article. Hold on. It says here, she demanded to know why the man who has not been identified supported Trump and asked questions about him. And that's just crazy. Now, I don't see people walking around wearing Democrat politician or political clothing, but I do see people that are Democrats for all kinds of reasons, whether they're wearing a mask or, some rainbow stuff. And, I wouldn't go up to, why are you a liberal? Why are you a Democrat? Why are you wearing that? That's lunacy. But anyway, she asked why he was a Trump supporter and all this stuff. This led to an argument between the two, and that's when the liberal decided to resort to violence. According to the affidavit, the liberals smacked the help. Now, keep in mind, this is a 70-something-year-old man, a senior citizen, and let me tell you something. Jill Biden may have been committing elder abuse in the White House with Anita Dunn and the rest of the staff up there and Jean-Pierre, and elder abuse may not be a big deal in the District of Columbia. But Florida, we have the oldest population in the country. Elder abuse is a big freaking deal. It's a big deal in Florida. I think it's a big deal everywhere, but it's an extra big deal in Florida. According to the arrest report, the argument happened. Then she smacked the helpless elderly man on the back of the head and shoulder area with a can. So she hit an elderly man in the back of the head with a can. I don't know if it had anything in the can, if it was, but still, you could kill someone doing that. Then she jumped over a fence and she ran away. They got her. She admitted to the police that she approached the man and demanded why he supported the president. She also confessed to pouring the contents of a can on his head, which alone is an assault. So she confessed to an assault. She did deny to police that she struck the victim. The arrest affidavit also says this liberal blue-haired lunatic, and she does have blue hair, I'm not kidding, assaulted a police officer while they were trying to handcuff her. Fox 13 says Largo police attended to guide this lunatic to the front of the park where the patrol vehicles were located, but the woman attacked one of the police officers by wrapping both of her legs around an officer, causing him to fall and bruise his knees. She then continued to kick and pull away from the police before they finally restrained her. She has the following charges: battery on a person 65 years old or older, that's a big deal. Battery on a law enforcement officer, that's a big deal. And obstructing and resisting an officer without violence. She was booked in the Pinellas County Jail on Tuesday, but was released Wednesday. I guess some liberal judge, I don't know. But here's the thing with these lunatics. Remember, these leftist lunatics shot President Trump in Butler, tried to kill him. And another liberal lunatic tried to shoot President Trump at the golf course in Florida. And he was very clear. Remember, we got a lot of communications with him. He was trying to get RPGs to shoot down the president's plane. And all of these liberal lunatics, whether it's this leftist that committed the act of terror and killed the Israelis in Washington, Luigi, the leftist who killed the pharmaceutical head, this blue-haired lunatic on the streets of Largo, Florida, along the Gulf of America here in Florida, the leftist that tried to kill Trump in Butler and shot him, the leftist that tried to shoot him at the golf course, and it goes on. They feel totally justified in all of these actions. They think we're the ones that have the problem. Think about that. They think we're the ones with the problem. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not the right, it's not MAGA that's violent. The violence is coming from them. Now, if you'd like to support the program, become a Patreon supporter. If you're a Patreon supporter, you have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And since I have upgraded the podcast to have a video version of the Brian Craig Show podcast, the audio version's still on all the podcast platforms, guys. But on YouTube and YouTube Music, I upload the video version. And Patreon supporters, not only do you have access exclusively as a Patreon supporter to commercial-free editions of the Brian Craig Show podcast, you get a commercial-free video version of it, completely commercial-free, if you're a Patreon supporter. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you're one of our top Patreon supporters, you get a live on-air shout-out on each episode. Your name is in the description of the podcast episodes, and on YouTube and YouTube Music, your name as a top Patreon supporter appears on the screen while I go through the names like I'm about to do. So the following names are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Nick, Wesley, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Alice, LeeZep, Shawna, George, Brandon, John, Frank, Dale, David, Laura, Rob, and SFjr. These are our top Patreon supporters. If you want your name on the screen and in the description, or you want to get those commercial-free editions of the podcast, go into the description of this episode. On whatever platform you're on, go to my Patreon page and become a Patreon supporter. Looking for timeless furniture that blends beauty with function? Discover TKC Woodworking on Etsy, where craftsmanship meets quality, and every piece honors the natural elegance of hardwood. From stunning bookshelves to studio cabinets, floating shelves, and handcrafted coffee tables, everything is expertly crafted and designed to elevate your space. Whether you need practical storage or a statement piece, you'll find the perfect fit at TKC Woodworking on Etsy. You'll also discover incredible gifts that will be appreciated and passed down for generations. Exceptional materials, masterful craftsmanship built to last. Visit TKC Woodworking right now, online at tkcwoodworking.etsy.com. That's tkcwoodworking.etsy.com. Explore the collection. You will be impressed. tkcwoodworking.etsy.com. Handmade hardwood furniture and home decor. Are you over 50 and want to feel stronger, look better, and live an active life like you did when you were younger? Then add Fit After 50 on Highway to Your Health to your podcast playlist. Fit After 50 gives you real-world advice from experts and everyday people just like you. Whether it's fitness, nutrition, or disease prevention, Fit After 50 host Keith and Rob bring you tips, strategies, and the motivation you need to take charge of your health. On Fit After 50, there's no gimmicks, no shortcuts, just science-backed actionable strategies and real talk to help you stay fit, feel good, and thrive at any age. Listen to Fit After 50 on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iHeartRadio. Subscribe today and take your first step towards a healthier, stronger, and more energized life. True warriors don't follow trends. They forge legacies. At TacticalVikingBrand.com, they believe warriors are built, not born. Tactical Viking was inspired by the ferocity of Norse legends and the precision of modern fighters. Tactical fighting is more than just a brand. It's a way of life. They create apparel for those just like you who live by strength, resilience, and honor. Every battle-worn design tells a story of warriors who refuse to surrender. When you wear Tactical Viking, you're not just wearing clothing, you're wearing a legacy. Everything is a tribute to the warriors who gave everything so we could carry the shield forward. The burial flag on our sleeve isn't just a symbol, it's a promise that we will never forget the sacrifices made before us. Join the Brotherhood, forge your legacy, stand strong, stay ready, no surrender. Visit TacticalVikingBrand.com right now and view the inventory. You will be impressed, and use the code TACTICAL10 to save 10% off your purchase. TacticalVikingBrand.com. Forge your legacy. Wear the warrior spirit. If you're in business, you know that first impressions are crucial. Your business deserves a website that stands out. With nearly 20 years of experience, ProWeaver is your trusted partner for professional custom design websites that are built to elevate your brand. ProWeaver doesn't use generic templates, just fully responsive, user-friendly custom websites that are tailored to you and the needs of your business. And the best part, ProWeaver delivers in just 3 to 5 days. That's lightning speed compared to competitors who take weeks. ProWeaver handles everything for you. Logo design to e-commerce solutions, SEO, and social media setup. They'll help you launch, grow, and dominate online, all at an affordable price. Don't wait. Get your custom website right now. Visit ProWeaver.com or call them directly toll-free 877-216-0852. 877-216-0852. ProWeaver.com. Affordable, dependable, fast. All right, so Social Security and the big, beautiful bill. We're going to talk about this. And, you know, it's amazing how things work. You know, you guys got to understand something. President Trump, our favorite president, the greatest president, he comes from the private sector where, you know, you get things done. The government is set up to make things not happen unless you're stealing, right, through USAID. And President Trump got the big, beautiful bill passed. And I told you guys, don't worry. I don't worry about anything with President Trump. Nothing. Because he is so incredibly competent. And you know, with President Trump on the scene, everything's going to get done. And the big, beautiful bill, as an example, when he was off in the Middle East, by the way, it's the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. There were some Republicans who were opposing him that wouldn't let it out of the committee, right? And I told you guys, I said, don't worry. These guys are all butch while Trump's in the Middle East. When Daddy comes home, they'll cave, and they did. And he got everything in it. And remember, he promised no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. And there's a bump in the road about the Social Security, but seniors did get it. And I'm going to go through that. And, you know, here's the thing about this. And when I go through the details, I'll explain more. But I want to go through the whole bill, or at least some parts of it, and then we'll get to that. But even though I'm going to tell you how he got the no tax on tip thing through, the left and the never Trumpers, the media, they're not going to accept what I'm about to share with you. In fact, this came up in the White House press briefing, one of them this week, with Caroline Leavitt. She explained what I'm about to share with you to the press, and it was like she wasn't talking, right? They don't even want to hear it, because these Trump derangement syndrome lunatics are desperate to have Trump not do something, okay? And when we go through this, you'll understand. Now, I pulled up the Palm Beach Post this morning. It's not just my town's newspaper, because I'm in Palm Beach, but it's the president's newspaper too, the Palm Beach Post liberal rag, okay? And they have a big article here. Is there still a tax on Social Security in Trump's big, beautiful bill? What to know? And, Florida is a very important state. We're not a swing state anymore. Florida is a red state. It's MAGA country. But we have a lot of seniors here. And the Democrats are always trying to scare seniors. Everything they have are lies and rhetoric. Earlier with the demonic Hillary Clinton, she had that whole thing, kids. Remember, kids? They use kids and seniors in most everything they do, and they love scaring seniors the most. And seniors, listen, no one in this country should have a worry about anything, because Donald Trump is the president of the United States. And when it comes to politics or our nation's safety or international wars, like, there's some tension with Iran, I don't worry about any of it with Trump in the White House, because he's always right. He is incredibly competent, and he'll get things done to the best of his ability and get them done right. So I don't worry. Does Trump look worried? Let Trump do the worrying for you. He handles everything. Got nothing to worry about. So there's a great article in The Hill that talks about the big, beautiful bill and gets into some details on the Social Security tax, okay, and what's going on with that. So I want to go through that now, and when I get to that part, it will make perfect sense and you'll understand. This is in The Hill. Tobias Burns is in the byline, the headline, How Trump's Big Bill Could Affect Your Taxes, okay? President Trump's bill to cut taxes and spending centers on an extension of his previous round of tax cuts, which Republicans slated for expiration at the end of 2017. As such, it will preserve the status quo on many big parts of the tax code, so the taxpayers won't see any changes in things like the amount of money the government takes out of their paycheck. Other tax cuts in the legislation now moving through Congress will be brand new, though most of the new additions are scheduled to end after a few years. And here's a look at some of the big ticket items in the latest round of GOP tax cuts. Okay, so I'm going to go through this, and the Social Security is here at the end of this list that I'm going to go through. Another thing you got to understand, the bill that's in the House is not the final bill. Okay, the bill, it gets passed in the House, then it goes to the Senate. They debate and make changes. They vote. They pass it. Then the Senate and the House come together in reconciliation. They make more changes. The current bill is not the final version that President Trump's going to sign into law. Okay, you got to understand that. So if everything isn't exactly like you want it or I want it or Trump promised or Trump wants it, that's okay. Give it some time. Okay, this is a process that really is, I don't follow these legislative processes until it's at the end, okay? Because that's when you get the final bill. I remember John Kerry when he ran for president 21 years ago. Can you imagine it's been that long, 2004? And there was a Bush, like a talking point or commercial showing all these crazy things that he voted for and these weird ways he voted on different things. And John Kerry said, I voted for it before I voted against it. Remember that? And people laughed at him. And what happens is they vote for things, and then they might, like, for example, all 100 United States senators this week, all 100, now it was amazing, voted in favor of the no tax on tips. But when the big, beautiful bill is all together with everything, some of them will vote no. So they voted for it before they voted against it. That's where that comes on. So you see how these things change all the time? All right, so let's get through this. Number one, personal income tax rates will stay the same. Trump's 2017 tax law cut many individual income tax rates, and those would continue into the future through the current legislation. Under current law and moving up the income spectrum, marginal rates are 10%, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, and 37%. The new GOP law will lock in those rates. The extension of those rates will reduce federal revenues by $2.2 trillion through 2034, according to the Joint Committee on Taxation. If they were allowed to lapse, rates would change to 10, 15, 25, 28, 33, 35, 39.6%. Only the 10% and 35% rates were left alone. Okay, so there you got it. So that's good. Trump in recent weeks floated letting the top rate go back to 39.6 from 37 as a way to lower the $3.8 trillion cost of the bill's tax portion. Okay, that's one. The higher standard deduction and cancellation of personal exemptions will remain. The law preserves and temporarily boosts the higher standard deduction, which was nearly doubled in 2017. The new boost is $1,000 for individuals and $2,000 for couples filing jointly. This is paired with getting rid of personal exemptions, making tax filing simple for many taxpayers. Okay, so that's good. No tax on tips or overtime. Now again, we're talking about the big, beautiful bill here. The bill creates a temporary full deduction for tips and overtime pay, allowing taxpayers to avoid paying taxes on those types of compensation. Taken together, the tax breaks will reduce revenues by about $164 billion. Don't worry, okay? The thievery that's been going on from the Treasury is being clamped down on, so don't worry. They'll make it up in what Doge is doing. People who work in the restaurant industry say they're concerned that the tax break will motivate customers to pay fewer gratuities, since tipping is left to the discretion of individual shoppers and diners as opposed to being a component of the employer-paid wage. I don't agree with that. Good tippers are good tippers. Bad tippers are just cheap lowlives, okay? And that's not going to change. But I would say it might increase it, and because tips are on everyone's mind, and people are being reminded in the country how important tip income is to our tip people. And now that we know they're getting a little extra tip, now people will tip the same and maybe even more. And so we got that. An additional tax break for seniors. Okay, now here's where they're telling us that Trump made a promise he didn't keep. No taxes on Social Security. That's not entirely true, and there's a reason why eliminating all taxes on Social Security is not in the big, beautiful bill, which is revealed in this. So I'm going to go through it. Now, not everybody that is on Social Security pays taxes. Only people that work and earn certain levels of income while they're working on Social Security pay taxes. That's number one. So, my mother is retired, but she works part-time, and she's paying taxes, and she's not happy about it on her Social Security. But there's a reason why the Republicans did not eliminate all income taxes on Social Security in the big, beautiful bill, and it's revealed here. Listen, the big, beautiful bill gives an additional $4,000 tax break to senior citizens below a certain income threshold, which would be added to the standard $15,000 standard deduction and an already existing $2,000 deduction for seniors. I know it's a lot of math and confusing, but they're going to get another $4,000 tax deduction instead of having the whole tax eliminated. Now, of course, President Trump and all of us would rather there be no taxes on Social Security. I agree with that. I mean, the government takes that money from you your entire life. They take that money from you your entire life. And they do with whatever they want with it, right? And we saw what they do with the money they collect through Doge and their great work. And then they want to tax you on it after they've had it your whole working career, spending it like drunken sailors. But now here's why the Republicans did not remove all taxes on Social Security. Listen, this is in the Hill. And by the way, all these articles I'm reading are on my X, Brian Craig Show on X, and you can find all the articles there. Trump promised while campaigning to remove taxes on Social Security, which is funded through a payroll tax and then taxed again above an income threshold upon dispersal to boost the Social Security fund along with Medicare. The enhanced deduction for seniors is a close substitute for the Social Security tax cancellation promised by Trump, but is technically a different tax. Now, here's why they didn't. Now, this next part is why they did not remove taxes on Social Security. And the reason they didn't is they can't. It's not allowed. Listen, according to congressional rules, the Social Security program cannot be altered through budget reconciliation, which is the legislative workaround Republicans are using to allow a party line vote on their bill and avoid a Democratic filibuster in the Senate. And I know that's a little technical, and liberals are going to ignore it, put their hands over their ears and go, la, 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 I don't hear what you're saying. I cannot compute. We're not going to let that sink in. But if they didn't do it, they're not allowed to eliminate the taxes on Social Security. They're not allowed. It's against the rules, sadly. Now, those rules hopefully will be changed, and in the future, it'll be that way, and there'll be other bills. But another $4,000 deduction, that's more money in taxes than most people that are being taxed on their Social Security are paying. So don't let these liberal Democrat lunatics convince you that President Trump didn't live up to his promise, okay? He did, and there will be more. And believe me, Trump always has us in mind with everything that he does. So have no concerns about that whatsoever. You know, listen, they're always going to be against Trump. And we know that President Trump is the first president of the United States, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I'm pretty well schooled on our past presidents. He is the first president of the United States to ever put the American people first. And it's amazing. All the other ones have cared nothing about anyone other than their donors and enriching themselves and their families. And they're not able to eliminate the Social Security tax entirely. And coming up with the $4,000 tax credit, people may be getting deductions that they would, getting a return that they wouldn't have gotten because they're probably paying less in tax on that. It's not the best. I'd rather them have no taxes on Social Security. But these lunatics that have been running our government for the 250 years almost have put all these bizarre things in there to screw the American people over. You know, the people that are the permanent Washington class, the way I describe how they view the American people, which they hate, the permanent Washington class hate the American people. They view us not as sentient beings, right? They view us as organisms that excrete money to give to them to use as they wish. That's all we are. We're organisms that excrete money for the permanent Washington class to steal. That's all and that's how much they care about us. Not Trump. Trump would have, Trump's goal is to eliminate all taxes on the American people and pay for things through tariffs. Most of the people that are so vocal against tariffs don't pay taxes. They either make no money or they live with mommy and daddy or they're bums, okay? And they don't understand the tax burden that is on the shoulders of workers and business owners. And I hate it. My wife and I, we have worked very hard, and we have zero debt. We don't have credit card debt. We got a car payment like everybody else, but we own our house, but we have no debt. We have no credit card debt. A lot of people have a lot of credit card debt. We used to, but we paid all that off. We have zero debt. The only debt I have is what I've got to pay in taxes every year. Okay, and it's the biggest worry that I have because I am a self-employed person. I don't work for anyone, okay? I am, the radio station, Steve Kane and all of that, I am an independent contractor with my own business. That's why, I have so many things going on. My podcast, my YouTube channel, I'm on the radio, you guys know. And because of that, I'm an independent business person, and I have to pay my taxes. And when you're an independent business person, people that aren't in business, they don't understand. Those deductions that you get out of your paycheck every week or 2 weeks, however you get paid, part of that you pay, part of that your employer pays. When you're self-employed or an independent contractor, which, there's so many people that are independent contractors, your Uber drivers and stuff, independent contractors, you have to pay the full amount of your payroll taxes. Not half where you split the cost with your employee. You got to pay all of that, self-employment tax, and it's not cheap. And then you have income tax. Okay, so it's a lot. And I have a savings account that is just for taxes, that every week my wife and I put money in for our taxes. And then sometimes something will come up and we'll dip into it. I'm like, well, we got to replace that next week because we still need the money for the taxes. And a lot of people say, well, of course you got to pay your taxes, but we are overtaxed in this country. And the plan that Trump has with the tariffs is to eliminate all of us who make under 200,000 as individuals, 400,000 as married couples. He wants to eliminate taxes on everyone. And by the way, eliminating taxes on those who make under 200,000 single, and they usually double it, so 400,000 married couples, that's about 98% of the American people would not be paying any taxes, and it'll be done through tariffs. And that sounds pretty good to me. And it would to most people. The only people that are not against reducing taxes outside of the government, because the government people, that's their money to steal and pay off donors and stuff. But regular people that are against the reduction of taxes and don't like the tariffs are people that don't pay taxes, bums that live with mommy and daddy, or they don't earn enough to pay taxes, or they're just stupid and have no understanding of how things work. I was telling Steve Kane this morning that come August, it'll be 3 years since Dr. Philip Appleton rid me of pain for the first time. It was in my knee. And my knee had been hurting me since I was 21 years old. So it had been 30 years of suffering. And sometimes my knee would act up. It was my right knee. It would act up so much, I just wanted to sit down and go to sleep, because the pain was so bad. And Dr. Appleton treated me. And I know it was 3 years ago because I remember a salesman from the radio station took me to meet Dr. Appleton. And I told Dr. Appleton about my knee. I got that free consultation that you can take advantage of too, the free consultation with Dr. Appleton. And he treated me with the laser treatment on my knee, which is 100% painless. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime. In fact, not only is it completely painless, you don't even feel it when it's happening. So that was on Thursday. The next day I woke up on Friday and my knee was already improving. I went for a second treatment on Saturday. First treatment Thursday, second treatment on Saturday, and then Monday the pain was gone. And 3 years coming in August, the pain has not returned because the laser treatment doesn't just rid you of pain, it repairs the damage that's causing the pain. It's amazing. It works. And he's rid me of pain 6 times after that for a total of 7, Dr. Appleton. We have listeners that travel literally from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. He is incredible. The laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Arthritis, which, by the way, he rid me of arthritis in my hand, bursitis, work and sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, which I understand is incredibly painful, rotary tears, herniated disc, acute pain, chronic pain, and any type of pain you've ever heard of. Because I keep meeting listeners all the time with new pains I never heard of, and they're now living pain-free thanks to Dr. Appleton. Give him a call. Now, remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com.
Did you know that every year, 95% of criminal cases never see a jury? They're decided behind closed doors through plea bargains. But what happens when those negotiations go wrong? Author Philip Mosier takes you inside the seismic 2012 Supreme Court rulings, Missouri versus Fry and Lafler versus Cooper, that changed everything in the book Plea Bargains on Trial. Available on Amazon. For the first time, the court recognized the right to effective counsel during plea bargaining, exposing the hidden pressure points that shape justice in America today. Filled with sharp legal insight, real-world examples, as well as powerful historical context, Plea Bargains on Trial pulls back the curtain on a system built on speed, but often short on fairness. If you're drawn to the complexities of law, justice, and the fight for true representation, Plea Bargains on Trial is a book you can't afford to miss. Order your copy right now on Amazon and see the system in a whole new light. Plea Bargains on Trial, from author Philip Mosier, on Amazon. This Father's Day, give a gift from the heart. The Flower Story by author Sean Feeney is a children's book that gives tribute to the unconditional love between a father and daughter. Inspired by a 2-year-old's bedtime request, The Flower Story follows the journey of a flower given by a father to his little girl, growing with her through the years. It's a story that blossoms with meaning, capturing those powerful moments only a dad and daughter can truly understand. The Flower Story is perfect for bedtime, story time, or anytime. It also includes a special section where dads can add their own personal message, making each book a one-of-a-kind keepsake. Whether she's 2 or 22, let her know your love grows forever. Celebrate Father's Day with The Flower Story by Sean Feeney. It's a gift she'll never forget. The only way to get a signed copy is on the author's website. Just type in 143 Art Publishing in the search bar and you'll find it right there. Are you exhausted, anxious, or stuck in survival mode? Medication, diet, supplements, no matter what you try, it doesn't change. It's not you. It's not your willpower. It's your nervous system. In the new book, The Vagus Nerve Protocol, author Adele Payne reveals simple, science-backed daily exercises to reset your system, release stress, and reclaim the energy you've been missing. Imagine this: sleeping deeply each and every night, digesting effortlessly, and breathing freely again, all by harnessing the power of your vagus nerve. The Vagus Nerve Protocol isn't another quick fix. It's real healing, designed for real people just like you. No apps, just practical steps to bring your body back to balance. Stop struggling and start thriving. Order your copy of The Vagus Nerve Protocol from author Adele Payne on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Your healing starts now. Order today. What if everything you've been through, every setback, every heartbreak was leading you to something greater? 225 Moments with M. Nicole is the faith-driven podcast that turns trials into victories. Inspired by Joel 2:25, 225 Moments with M. Nicole is a powerful podcast that shares real stories of restoration, resilience, and breakthrough. On each episode, host M. Nicole, who's a manifestation coach and purpose-driven visionary, has conversations that ignite faith, align purpose, and unlock transformation. From surrendering to God's timing to recognizing when blessings don't look like blessings, 225 Moments with M. Nicole will uplift, empower, and awaken possibility. Are you ready to manifest the life God has for you? Then add 225 Moments with M. Nicole to your podcast playlist right now on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all podcast platforms. Teachers, are you looking for fun, no-prep resources to wrap up the school year? Ginger's Classroom on teacherspayteachers.com has you covered. From engaging mazes to holiday coloring pages, coping skills activities, and exciting educational bundles. The digital downloads at Ginger's Classroom make learning fun while saving you time. Everything is accessible, affordable, and ready to use right away because great teaching tools should be easy to find. Go right now to teacherspayteachers.com and search Ginger's Classroom. That's teacherspayteachers.com and search Ginger's Classroom and find great end-of-the-year activities at a price that fits a teacher's budget.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I came across this during the break, and I can't play you the audio because there's music on it. But Adam Carolla, he said there's something that all progressive men have in common. And what he's saying is all progressive men cross their legs like women. He shows every liberal you can think of, New Scum and all of them. And you know what? It's so true. Trudeau crosses his legs like a woman. New Scum crosses his legs. And I don't know. Obama, he shows Obama. So what is it about these progressive men that have them all crossing their legs like women? Women do it because they're wearing skirts or something, so you can't, get a look like Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. And then he shows pictures of President Trump who sits like a man. So I don't know. That's a good question. Why do you all think that liberal men, progressive men, Democrat men, when they sit, cross their legs like women? What do you think that's about? Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, David Hogg. The Democrats, they're out of their mind if they think David Hogg is going to bring people back to the Democrat Party. But he said today that Jasmine Crockett is the perfect person to lead the Democrat Party. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea, David Hogg. Jasmine Crockett. She, this is so great. We're so blessed and lucky to be living through this time of Trump right now where everything's going so well. And you got to enjoy and savor every moment of the Trump presidency, because we're never going to we'll have other MAGA presidents, but none like this. And the Democrats in complete self-destruction mode. Yeah, I hope David Hogg is successful in elevating Jasmine Crockett. She's the worst. I mean, she turns everybody off, okay? Nothing that she supports is supported by anyone outside of a small, tiny little group of people. So I'm all for Jasmine Crockett becoming the front runner for the Democrat Party. I got to tell you, though, I was mentioning earlier about my MAGA hats, about that triggered leftist that attacked the man. And, I have so many MAGA hats. I've got a lot of Make America Great Again hats. I have a few of them that are red. I've got one that's orange. I've got a white one. I've got some black ones. I've got dark MAGA with the black writing, black hat. I've got a black hat with the white writing. I've got a lot of hats that say Make America Great on them. And I've got a lot of other Trump hats too. And I've had my share of people getting triggered in certain places. If you've watched any of my YouTube vlogs, in particular, when I went to the liberal Tesla protest a couple months back with my Make America Great Again hat on, they were having meltdowns. And I've made some YouTube videos of wearing my Make America Great Again hat out and about here and there from time to time. And you get to see the reactions from these leftists. But I must tell you, out of all of the Trump Make America Great Again hats or the Trump-related hats that I've worn, nothing triggers the left like the Trump 2028 hat. I don't know what it is about this hat. I got an idea, which I'm going to share with you now. But the leftists, when I'm out and about, are so triggered by the Trump 2028 hat. It freaks them out. People, I wear my Make America Great Again hat around, and I will get nasty comments here and there. Not all the time, though. I am in Florida. But with the Trump 2028 hat, it's a regular occurrence. And my best guess is it's like their worst nightmare, that we amend the Constitution and he gets a third or fourth term. Just the idea, and to amend the Constitution takes a lot of effort. It's a big deal. It's not that easy to do. You don't want it to be easy to amend the Constitution. When the left's in power, they'd be amending it all the time. Could you imagine? Constitutional right to have an abortion, all these. Can you imagine what the Democrats would put? That's why when a lot of people like Mark Levin talk about wanting to have a convention of the states, I always say that's like the worst thing you could do, because you don't want liberals changing any of that. But anyway, just the thought of Trump running and being elected in 2028 triggers them, and they understand that that's how popular he is. We are in a MAGA country, and this country, people love Donald Trump. That's just, I love him. You guys love him, and it's a love that no one has had for a living president. And I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, Kennedy." No, Kennedy was not so popular. Okay, when he was in office, he because he was murdered by the same people that shot President Trump in Butler, and tried to do it again at the golf course in Florida, but because he was murdered, he's viewed in a different way than if he wasn't. He was he was not sure he was going to be reelected. Okay, so no, Kennedy wasn't while he was in office. There's never been a president this loved while he was in office. I'm here to tell you, by so many Americans, and they hate him for it. And let them hate. Haters are going to hate. But that Trump 2028 hat, if you don't have one, get one. It's the best. I mean, I have so many great Trump hats, and I'm going to have to order another one of these. I got, my wife ordered me 2 hats from the official Trump store, Trump 2028, which I'm wearing now, and a Gulf of America hat. And I have about, I don't know, maybe 12 total Trump hats. And most of them, I bought some of them, like this one in the Gulf of America and a few others, but a lot of them I have, listeners have sent me to the radio station and all, which is awesome. I got some great hats from you listeners out there, and I do wear them. But that Trump 2028 hat, if you don't have one, get one. It drives them nuts. And when I tell people that not only am I comfortable with Trump, amending the Constitution and running and being elected in 2028, I would be fine with him as president for the rest of his life. I mean, he's that great. And those of you that watch me on YouTube, anytime I'm doing a live stream wearing any of my MAGA hats, not just the Trump 2028, but any of them, they said, oh, that hat's made in China. And I show them that it's made in the USA. And I'm trying to figure out why these leftists think that they've got a point with that made in China. Most everything we use, sadly, is made in another country, sometimes China, because our politicians have been selling this country out our whole lives. Trump is waging these tariff wars to bring that manufacturing back. But the Trump hats, the official Trump hats, are made in the United States, and I show them the tag. Now, not all of my Trump hats are officially sold through the Trump store. The Trump 2028, Gulf of America, and some of my Make America Great Again hats are from the official Trump store. Some of them that have been given to me by listeners are not, and they don't have a made in any place tag in them, so I don't know where they were made. But any merchandise you buy from the official Trump store is made in the USA. Now, if you're in the state of Florida and you need roof repair or replacement, you want to call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll take good care of you. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need, meaning that if you need just a simple repair, he'll do it. He covers the entire state of Florida, the East Coast, the West Coast, and everywhere in between. And did you know that Tom Laporta was voted one of the best general contractors and best roofers in all of South Florida? That is absolutely amazing. He's honest, he's knowledgeable, he's reliable, and he does incredible work. I've seen his work, not just on Steve Kane's house, but many of our listeners have told me about the great work that Tom Laporta has done for every type of structure. We actually had a listener that had a church roof. They call Tom Laporta about. Now remember, because Tom Laporta isn't just a roofer, he's also a general contractor. Florida law allows him to deal directly with your insurance company for the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof. He can handle a job of any size, and he can also handle any type of roofing job. Residential roofing and repair, commercial roofs, schools, municipal buildings, office buildings, emergency repairs. After rainstorms and hurricanes, we have a lot of listeners, they call Tom Laporta. He comes right out. He takes care of it. Give him a call. Now, this number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone, okay? 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602. You can either call or text him. That's his direct cell phone number, or go to his website, laportaroofing.com. Pete Hegseth today, he hosted a prayer service, and there's some problem that a lot of these leftists are having. Let me pull this up. I'll play his response. Pete Hegseth, he got off his plane today and responded. Very strange. You can't hear the question too much, but they're asking about the prayer breakfast, and he's going to respond.
The question is, I've gotten some criticism for hosting a Christian prayer service at the Pentagon yesterday. We said it very publicly. We said it very proudly. Appealing to heaven, to God, is a long-standing tradition in our military. I'm very proud that we're starting a monthly voluntary service at the Pentagon. George Washington was on bended knee with the troops.
Yeah, don't you wish you could go to that prayer service at the Pentagon? I wish I could go to a prayer service with Pete Hegseth. That'd be awesome.
In our military. I'm very proud that we're starting a monthly voluntary service at the Pentagon. George Washington was on bended knee with the troops, praying for God's providence and protection in that moment. Chaplains and ministers and Christians and people of faith across generations have prayed because of the business that we're in. I mean, the business of the 82nd Airborne, and you watch that 911 button for the country, is a dangerous one on behalf of all of us. And we appeal to God. I appeal to Jesus Christ.
That's right. I'm so glad he doesn't use generic God. He says Jesus Christ. I don't like when Christians, they don't want to say Jesus or Jesus Christ, okay? They want to say, and I understand it's okay to say the Lord and God. I'm not saying it's wrong to say that, but some Christians are afraid to say Jesus or praying to Jesus Christ. I don't know why that is, and I'm so glad to hear him say that. Now, could you imagine if he were Muslim and he was praying to Allah or whatever it is they do? Do you think the press would ask a Muslim defense secretary about the inappropriateness of praying to Allah at the Pentagon for a volunteer prayer service? And if he said he prayed to Allah, do you think they would take issue? Would they haul him out on the tarmac like they're doing with Hegseth here? Hegseth's awesome.
Have prayed because of the business that we're in. I mean, the business of the 82nd Airborne, and you watch that 911 button for the country, is a dangerous one on behalf of all of us. And we appeal to God. I appeal to Jesus Christ for that protection. We're going to speak that word and be open and willing to talk about that at the Pentagon. If they want to criticize that, they're on the wrong side of a very important issue. So thanks for coming with us today. We'll see you on the other side. Thank you.
All right, Pete Hegseth. He's super cool, isn't he? I mean, he just walks away casually, and he's a John Wayne-like figure, isn't he? Now, I love Pete Hegseth, and he's so awesome. I wonder what he's going to do now. Hey, listen. He could be vice president or president one day, too. He's a young guy, and people love him, and he's very charismatic. Candace Owens, I want to talk about this. And you guys know I got a lot of problems. If you listen to me regularly, I got a lot of problems with Candace Owens, okay, with her anti-Semitic views and everything, and her attacks on the president. However, she dropped a video today that she not only had her life threatened, but someone's been arrested by the feds for threatening her life. She put up a YouTube short on this today, and what a terrible thing. And they did identify who did it, and they've been arrested, and it's publicly known. You can go and watch Candace Owens' video on this, and she goes through the whole thing. And getting threats, sadly, is part of public life. And I've gotten them many, many times, more than I can actually remember in my very long career in broadcasting. And I got actually two this week during the show. I got two threats on the air. One of them was a threat. And the other one was a very violent threat. And two this week. And it happens. And it typically happens from the leftist. And I've been getting them since I was a young guy. And you never get used to it. Especially, it's worse when, you get older and you have a family like Candace Owens. I got some issues with her positions and some of the things she's doing, but I stand with Candace Owens against these threats against her. I was talking at the beginning of the show about these triggered leftists. Those of us that are conservatives, it's part of life to get these kind of things. Most of the time, you don't know about it ever. The two threats I got this week. Just happened to happen on the air, okay? And let me tell you, like Candace Owens, I always press charges. Always. And sometimes there's very deep and detailed, extensive investigations with these things. It is not something to play with. And this threat with Candace Owens is god-awful. And I'm so happy they got the monster. You go watch her video on this. It's on her YouTube channel. It was a short, but it's not 60 seconds because, on YouTube you can actually put shorts up that are like 3 minutes long now. So it's a couple minutes long, and she goes into a lot of detail about it. And my prayers and support are certainly with Candace Owens against these monsters that do things like this. It's god-awful. And I'll tell you this. Like what we were talking about in the beginning, I meant to mention this in the first segment when I was talking about these leftists with the Candace Owens thing, and I just slipped my mind. So I'm doing it here now. But you don't hear about the left who are broadcasters getting the threats. It's always people on the right, like myself, Candace Owens, and others. And I'm here to tell you, we all get them. It's just not always so public. And the one that that Candace Owens is dealing with right now, she just had a baby. And so that's it's just sick, it's sad, and it's twisted. So don't let them tell you that it's MAGA, that it's the right that's prone to violence. It's always the left. It is. Just look. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time.